Today we have with us Deepak Agarwal, Indirect Tax Expert from Deloitte. Thank you for joining us, Deepak. The economy survey yesterday had laid out a roadmap for implementation of GST. Basically, it suggested that GST can be implemented in two phases, that is the central as well as the state level. What is your take on the implementation route suggested by the economy survey?
Okay, the finance minister mentioned in his budget speech that two roadblocks are, one is the state jurisdiction of levying tax and the other was on compensation. These two continue to be the hurdle. If these two are met, probably GST should be introduced very soon. On the second question of implementing GST in phases, that is combining the central excise and the service tax first, and then getting the state governments to subsume in the GST, that if the state governments are adamant on these things, then possibly the government could explore on subsuming central excise and service tax. In fact, I feel on the negative list as well, it was probably because of the state government's reluctance and to send a precursor to the introduction of GST, the negative list regime was introduced in service tax.
So what is your take on the customs and excise duty exemptions given to the manufacturing sector?
Okay, now I could cover the customs and the excise all together because finance minister has mentioned that he wants to ensure that the domestic manufacturer get a boost. So on the customs front, he is reduced customs duty on the raw material side, so that those can be imported with lesser custom duty and used for manufacture. And on some of the final products like electronics, to reduce import of these final products, he has imposed additional duty on electronic items. So that is on the customs. Even from the excise perspective, he has tried to reduce the excise duty on certain goods so that the manufacturers in India get a boost. So if you see the major sectors that have been given the concessional duty benefits are power and energy, petrochemicals and allied sectors. So these are essentially to boost the domestic manufacturing industry. That's my take on what kind of exemptions or concessions have been given on excise and customs front.
Are there any areas where you think the finance minister actually missed the opportunity to give a boost to the economy?
Not really, because the whole idea of the FM as it appeared from the budget speech was to give impetus to the domestic manufacturing industry, which I feel he has done his bit by introducing various concessions.
The import duty on gold remain unchanged at 10%. Do you think the finance minister should have made some changes in terms of reduction in the import duty of gold?
Probably, I am not too sure whether it could have been increased because decreased, because some time back the gold import duty on gold was increased. So I am not too sure what was the intention of the people expecting that the gold custom duty would reduce.
What would be the impact of service tax measures announced in the budget?
Service tax, I feel the FM has tried to stabilize and continue the negative list approach. He has tried to widen the tax base, and so in line with his intention to introduce GST, he has pruned the negative list and the exemption list, and he has at the same time granted some exemptions, issued some clarifications where there were ambiguity. To give you a few examples, he has introduced service tax on sale of space on websites and mobile advertisement, and he has proposed a tax on radio taxis, air-conditioned bus travels. Those are the things, but largely he is not tried to experiment with service tax, because his intention, I presume, is to have a stable and continuous regime on the negative list.
Is there a difference in approach between the two governments, that is the UPA and the NDA government, in terms of levying taxes?
Not really, because I think the current government has just picked up from where the last government had left, and since the economy is still facing some turbulence, but the government would require some more time to decide, or rather for us to understand whether there is a difference in approach of kind of thing.
Alright, so thank you very much.
Thank you.